This is a recap for The Young and the Restless, Monday, September the 7th, 2015. You have Jill, Colin, and Esther, Mrs. C's memorial service at Chancellor Park. There are some strange occurrences going on. The lights going off, things are getting dark, people's cell phones are not working. And Esther says that she thinks it's Catherine letting them know that she's still with them. So Jill tells Colin to go over and comfort Esther. And Jill and Colin, who catch up with Esther at Crimson Lights, they tell Esther, it's like, okay, we're all mourning, let's all just kind of mourn together. And Esther goes on about Mrs. C not being there, and the world is a dark place, it's not a happy place because she's no longer there. So Colin says, well, let me go and, get you a refill. And Jill and Esther continue to sit at the counter. So Esther is acting kind of reserved. Esther is acting a little funny, so Jill kind of asks her what's going on. Of course, she knows that she's in mourning, and Esther just kind of says, well, Colin has been making inappropriate advances towards me, when you were away. And then when Jill says, well, that doesn't sound like Colin wouldn't do that. And as Colin is walking up, Colin says, well, Colin wouldn't do what? And he admits to having, kind of playful manner or kind of playful speech. But for Esther is like, okay, well, no, that's not playful. You're literally hitting on me, when I'm dusting in my maid uniform, or, when I'm trying to fix the couch, or little different things that I'm doing when I'm doing my job. You're literally coming on to me and making passes. And so Colin says, I only asked her to make me a sandwich with some chips. And their stories are totally different. So then you got to kind of wonder, is Esther imagining things, or is Colin really doing what Esther is saying that Colin is doing? And if Jill was away for such a long time, and you have Colin and Esther in the house by themselves, I mean, a man is going to be a man, but come on, Esther, really? I don't know. So Jill says that she don't believe Colin did what Esther's saying that he did. So Esther tells Jill that he pats on my butt when he passes by me, so that in itself is inappropriate. And Jill goes on to tell Esther, well, you no longer have charms. You're not a charming person anymore. And the last time a man came on to you it was Roger Wilkes. You almost got yourself killed in that situation. And then Esther goes on to tell Jill that, I have a right to work in a safe place. And, I shouldn't have to deal with what Colin is doing. So they kind of debate back and forth when Esther says that either Colin goes or she does. So Jill tells her to just let the door hit her in the ass on her way out. And Esther tells Jill that Mrs. C would be totally ashamed of her, for allowing this to go on. And of course Esther leaves. And after Esther leaves, you have Colin and Jill who are sitting and talking, and Jill is talking about hiring a professional maid. And Colin says to Jill, well, who are you going to fight with now? And, of course, Jill smiles at him and says, you, my love, always you. Well, who else is she going to argue at? She can't fight and argue with nobody else, Colin, because you're the only one there with her. Adam is talking to Ian on the phone about this Paragon Project virus that he is supposed to download onto Victor's computer. So he's saying, okay, well, you guys need to hurry up on that side because things are going slow on this side. Nothing is happening like it's supposed to happen. And if I get caught, it's me getting caught. It's not you guys, it's me getting caught. So Adam hears somebody coming through the hallway, and Victoria arrives, and Adam has to hide. So while Victoria is there, she calls security about the power issue and what's going on in the building, because she noticed that Victor's office was the only office that had lights and the rest of the building was completely dark, and she was kind of wondering why. So the guard comes up and Victoria is asking him, okay, well, what happened? It's like, why was my dad's office the only office that had lights? Everything else was dark. And then the guard is saying, well, we really don't have any idea. Maybe it was like a backup generator or something. So she says, okay, and then she asked him about she was telling the guard that there was somebody in here. And she asked him about footage, but then she thought about it. Okay, the surveillance cameras were down, so of course there's no footage. And then you still have Ian on the other side who's talking to his computer guy and expressing to him that there is someone else that despises Victor just as much as he does. This little plan that they have to bring Victor down more than likely is going to go ahead and take place. So he's all happy about it. He laughs about it. And Victor is untouchable. In The Young and the Restless, it always appears that they will get close to Victor. They might be right at the door of bringing Victor down. But for some reason, Victor always ends up standing on his feet. And it's like sometimes you want to see Victor get arrested. Sometimes you want to see Victor get beat up. Sometimes you want to see Victor get choked. Sometimes you just want to see some badness happen to Victor. You don't always want Victor to get away with everything. It's like, come on, writers over there at The Young and the Restless. Victor is neither young nor restless. He's an old veteran manipulator, and sometimes we as viewers we want to see something happen to Victor, okay? At the club, you have Billy, who is talking to Chelsea, and all the while she's holding little Connor, and they're talking about, because Chelsea was supposed to be gone. So Billy is asking her how come she hasn't left yet. He would think that she would be gone already. So Chelsea reveals to him that Victor sued for visitation rights, so she's not able to leave. And Billy is saying, well, you should just grab Connor up and just run for the hills, go as far away as you possibly can. And Chelsea is saying, well, no, Victor will find me, and if I go back to Paris, of course, he'll probably have some of his guys there waiting on me to bring me back, and so on and so forth. See, Victor always gets Victor's way. It's like no matter what Victor does, Victor always seems to get away with everything. And it's like everybody is always at Victor's mercy. And then moving forward at the hospital, you have Nick, who is talking about Sage. And everybody is kind of worried about Sage and if she's okay. So they show up one at a time. Victor shows up. Nikki shows up. Victor meets the two doctors, male and female doctor, in the hallway on their way to Sage's room. So Victor asks the doctor, well, what are the test results? What's going on? So the female doctor says, well, I have to talk to my patient first and tell her what's going on. And, at some point you can find out. So Victor got a little bit upset because his thing was, well, she needs to be taught some bedside manner. Well, she needs to be taught bedside manner. Why? Because she didn't bow down to you and tell you her patient's information because you feel like you're entitled to that, or just what? It's like, see, Victor is a mess. So, of course, they go in the room and they tell Sage everything is fine and she's fine, the baby's fine, but they were going to keep her overnight for observation. So that worked out well. But when Victor came into the room at some point, Sage was just saying to the baby that she's not going to let anybody come between them or, let anything happen. And Victor walks in the room just in time. But Victor has this kind of smugness on him, like he can't wait for that baby to get there because he got some type of dark plans, like maybe to take the baby or, some old strange stuff. And you just never know with Victor. So then you're back at Chancellor Park where you have Victor, and he tells Nikki he loves his family, more than anything, and he didn't have one growing up. So Nikki says he can be, he can really be tender sometimes, and, they kind of make amends, and then they embrace. Victor just has a way about Victor, and maybe that's why Victor always gets away with things, because he can be this kind of harsh, dark person, and then I guess, at times when he's tender and feeling a little mushy, everybody just kind of falls forward, and then he can still just kind of get away with stuff. But these recaps are meant to be little teasers, not to give you the whole show. I try to stay away from all the main parts so that when you do watch the show, there's that element of surprise when you watch it. I mean, I wouldn't want to listen to a recap and everything is in the recap, because I know there are some videos that you could watch here on YouTube and a person will tell you everything on the show from A through to Z, and that's not what I want, because at some point I'm going to get a chance to watch the show, and when I watch the show I want something to be a surprise to me. Just give me a little teaser. I don't need the whole show. So hopefully these little recaps will suffice for that. This is Darlene Knight. Like the video if you like it. Comment if you have a comment. Be sure to subscribe. This has been a recap for The Young and the Restless, Monday, September the 7th, 2015. Thanks for watching.